Welcome to JFlair, where creativity meets style. On this channel, I share fashion tips, pattern drafting, and sewing tutorials. I'm here to help you create stunning pieces with ease. So let's turn those design dreams of yours into reality, one stitch at a time. Do not forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay inspired. In this tutorial, we're going to be making this beautiful dress. It's an A-line dress with a design on the neckline. The neckline has a kind of design that will be achieved using dart manipulation. Now the sleeve also has its own design, and it has a flared part that's on the sleeve. So it's a very beautiful dress. It has side pockets, and the down part is an A-line. So let's dive right into the tutorial. This is a sketch of the dress that we'll be making, the A-line dress. I'm going to start with the front part of the dress. Right here is my basic pattern set. I have the front and the back patterns. I will drop a link in the description box in case you do not know how to draft the basic bodice pattern. And this is my basic sleeve. It's a long sleeve. And then this is the fabric I'll be using. I have my Ankara fabric, 6 yards. And then this is the plain fabric I'll be using for the design on the sleeve and the neckline area. So to start with the front pattern, here is my front pattern. It has 2 darts, the bust dart and the waist dart. So I'm going to try with my free hand to create the design that is on the neckline, from the neckline to the waistline. But if you observe closely, you would notice that the shoulder seam is not complete. So I'll be using a shoulder seam of 3.5 inches, and that's what I'm marking right there. And then I'll be using a neck depth of 5 inches, okay? 5 inches, just to give you that unique shape on the neckline. So I just come down by 5 inches here. And then I'll connect the 2 points, the point on the shoulder to the point on the center front area to form my neckline. Okay, so this is the neckline. And then for the detail on the front, that's the green part, I'll be using 1/2 inch. Okay, before that, I did a contour on the shoulder seam. I just went down by 3/8, and I'll be cutting that out so that my neckline does not gape. This is so that my neckline does not gape, okay? And then I'm also going to do a contour on the neckline. But before that, I'll just draw my basic neckline. Now this part is optional, because by the time I was done with the contouring, because the neckline is not that deep, there was really very little to take out, very, very little. So you can actually do away with this. This is actually contour 1, the contour on the neckline. Yeah, but if your neckline is deeper than this 5 inches, you can do the contour 1. But for mine, what was left was very little. So I'm just doing my contour 1. Remember, contour 1 is 3/8 on the bust arc. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to drop a link on contouring, contour guideline, in the description box. So I'm done with my contour 1, and as you can see, what I'm going to take out for contour 1 is very little, which is negligible. So you can just keep this part if your neckline is not that deep, okay? So it's very, very little, very small. So I'm going to work on the neckline area, focusing on the shoulder. For the green part, where I'll be placing the plain fabric, I'll just go in by 1/2 inch from the new shoulder seam, 1/2 inch. And then at the waist area, I'll be going in by 5/8. So when I cut the fabric on fold, it becomes 1 1/4 That's a total of 1 1/4. So I'm gonna do a bit of that manipulation here. I will draw my as a style line in such a way that it touches the bust point, which is going to be the focal point. So this is what I have right now. So this will help to maintain the fitting on the bust area. Okay, so I'm not going to be sewing any dart, but there is a dart in this pattern. I just transferred it. Okay, so I'm going to close the bust dart and the waist dart. So I'm just highlighting the curve, and this is 1 and 2. So I'll cut out right now, and this is what my pattern looks like after cutting. And then I'll close my bust dart and waist dart. Okay, for this style I'll recommend that you use a fitted bodice pattern so that you can maintain the fit around the bust area. If you're going to use a dartless bodice, you're not going to get the same fit that this pattern will give. So ensure that you use a fitted bodice pattern with a bust dart and a waist dart to take out all the excess around the bust and under bust area. Okay, so this is what my pattern is looking like, and this is what I'll be using to cut on my fabric. So I'm just going to set this aside and then work on the back pattern. For the back pattern, I have just one dart, and that's all. I'm not going to touch the, okay, I'm just going to touch the shoulder to reduce the shoulder seam to be exactly the same as the front shoulder seam. And then for the sleeve, I have my long sleeve. I'm just going to try to create what I have in the sketch. The part of the sleeve is the plain fabric, and the other part is the Ankara fabric. So I'll just get the length of my shoulder to elbow. That's what I'll be using as the full length of the basic sleeve area before the flared parts, and this is it. So I'm going to measure this, that's the elbow area there. Just ensure you get the measurement. That's what you'll be using to cut out the flared parts, okay? That measurement, okay? So from the green line, that's the center line, I'll mark 5/8 on each sides of the line, 5/8 on the right and on the left, okay? And then I'll connect to the underarm of my sleeve. So I'm just stepping up by 7 inches on this side and 7 inches on this other side. Then I'll connect with a curve. So I'm just using my free hand right now. Okay, so I decided to use the curved ruler to get the best curve. And then I just folded my pattern into two. Then I'll be using my tracing wheel to trace it out so it shows on the other side. This part is actually equal on this part of the sleeve. Okay, so I guess I'm done with the sleeve right now. I'm just numbering them. That part is Ankara, the plain fabric, and then Ankara fabric. So that's all for this part of the sleeve. The other part will be the flared part, which I'll be cutting using the circumference that I measured at the M line of this sleeve. So I'm just going to pin this part into two. I'll be cutting it as one. So guys, let's cut on our fabric. All our patterns have been drafted out, and then it's time to cut on the fabric. Now the first thing I did was to fold my fabric into four using the measurements of my hip line divided by 4. My hip line is 450 divided by 4, that's 12.5, and then I added 7 inches extra as what I'll be using to create the extension. So that's my waist. The starting point here is the waistline, and then from the waistline I'm going to mark my hip line. That's my shoulder to hip measurement. Take it on this side, mark as many points as you can, and then draw a straight line, and this becomes my hip line. And then the end of the fabric is actually the full length of this dress. Okay, so on the hip line, I marked my hip divided by 4. Okay, so I eventually drew out the connection from the waistline to the hip line. And then on the hem line, I'll just connect straight up from the hip line to the hem line. So I just decided to add the seam allowance first before doing that, okay? So I added 2.5 inches to the hip line, and then one and a half to the waistline, okay? So I'm just going to connect all these points to form the side length of this dress, okay? So I'm connecting from my waist to hip, and then from my hip to the hem line. And this is what it is looking like right now. So at the hem line, I'll just go up by 3/4 of an inch, then curve it to the center area, that's towards the side here. And this is to give the hem line a perfectly rounded shape so that it doesn't look sharp or pointed at the hem line. So I'm just going to cut out this part, the dress right now, and then show you what it looks like. So this is the down part. It's an A-line dress. This is the down part. And then I'm just notching the center. So this part is actually for the front and the back cut together. Okay, so let's set it aside. And then for the upper part of the dress, I have this part pinned on my fabric, and I'm just going to cut with 1/2 inch on the hem line, 1.5 on the sides, 1/2 inch on the armhole, 1/2 inch on the shoulder area, and then 1/2 inch everywhere else. And then for the back of the dress, I have it pinned on my fabric. I'm adding 1/2 inch to the hem line, 1.5 to the side, 1/2 inch to the armhole, 1/2 inch to the shoulder, 1/2 inch to the neckline. And at this point, I'm just notching the dart area. At the center back, I have 1/2 inch for the zipper. And then I noticed that I didn't take out of the shoulder. Okay, remember at the front I took out 3.5. The shoulder seam for the front is 3.5. So I'm just going to repeat the same thing at the back. I'll mark 3.5, then connect to the center back to form the new neckline. And then I'll go down by 3/8, which is the contour on the neckline, on the shoulder contour, to prevent gaping. Okay, ensure that you take out from the shoulder seam, that's go down by minimum of 1/4 of an inch so that the shoulder seam will relax very well. There won't be any form of gaping on the shoulder. Okay, so I'll just record the neckline and the shoulder seam, and that will be all for the back pattern. And then for the plain fabric, I have this one pinned on the plain fabric. I'll be cutting one for each of the sleeves. I'm just adding 1/2 inch round, then 1 inch on the side of the fabric. Okay, 1/2 inch on the sleeve cap area. So for the flat part of the sleeve, I'm going to I divided the circumference by 6.28 since I'm cutting a full circle. I'm going to be cutting 2 for each of the sleeves, 1 for the plain sleeve and 1 for the Ankara sleeve. So what I'm going to do now is to fold my fabric into 4. So I'm just measuring. I added the circumference, that's the radius. I added the radius to the length of the sleeve. The longer one is 7 inches and the short one is 5 inches. So 7 plus the radius and 5 plus the radius. So I'm just going to cut out one, and then I'll use this one to cut the other one. Okay, and then I'll cut the short one. So I'm just cutting the long one first. This one is the one that is at the bottom. Okay, so I have my fabric folded into 4, and then I'm marking the radius of the sleeve. This is the radius. And then after marking the radius, I'm marking the length. I said the length is 7 inches. So I'm marking 7 inches from where my radius is. And then I'm cutting out right now, leaving half-inch seam allowance at the top. And then this is the circle. I'll be using this to cut on the other fabrics. So I'm done with cutting all my fabrics, all my pieces. I have also gone ahead to interface the parts that needs interfacing. That's the center front area where the neckline is. The side, front, and the back of the fabric. I interfaced all of them, and I cut out lining for each of those pieces. Okay, so I have 2 for each part of the front and the back. So I'm going to start by sewing my darts for the back. I'll just mark out the darts. So I'm going to join the front pieces. This is the center of the front and these are the sides. I'm going to join all of them with half-inch seam allowance. Remember, I left half-inch seam allowance. So I'll just pin them down. And then I'll be sewing from bottom to the top. Okay, and then I'll do the same thing for the lining part. This is the lining part. I didn't add interfacing to the lining, so this is what the lining is looking like. Okay, I decided to use the Ankara fabric to line the dress. And then for the flared part, I have this one here. This is a plain fabric part. I'll be using my crinoline to turn the M line. Okay, I'll turn the M line with the crinoline. So I'm joining the front right now. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. That's just one side. So at this point, I'm done sewing the front. I've joined the front. I've sewn the dart for the back. And then the next thing will be to join them on the shoulder seam. Right sides facing each other. The right side of the front facing the right side of the back. And then after joining the shoulders, I decided to join the sides. And this is what the inside looks like. I have notched the inside. And then we're working on the sleeve right now, as you can see, joining the Ankara to the plain fabric for the sleeve. And this is from the lining part of the sleeve already sewn. And then for the front of the dress, I'm going to be joining the lining to the front piece on the neckline area. Okay, so I'm just going to match all the seams, the shoulder seams, ensuring that the fits correctly. And then I'll just sew on half-inch seam allowance. After sewing, I'll notch the neckline and then do an understitch to keep the lining in place at the back. Okay, so that's what I'll be doing to the neckline. I'm joining the front and the back, and this is what it looks like inside and outside. Can you see how neat it is? Okay, so I'm going to be working on the down part. That's the A-line part. So I just measured where my zipper will stop. I'm going to be fixing the zipper in a way that it's it looks like a welt zip because there is no joining all the way from the top of this down part to the hemline. So I just cut two about 10 inches below the waistline. Can you see that? 10 inches. Okay, so I already joined the sides of this down part of the dress. I already joined the sides, and this is what it looks like right now. So there is a notch at the middle of the center front. I'm just going to match that notch with the center front of the top of the dress. Okay, I'll just pin that down. Then I'm going to sew on half-inch seam allowance from one side to the other. And then for the circular part, as you can see, I have already sewn it. Okay, I have turned it, and I also went ahead to iron. So I'm going to be joining them back to form a complete circle. Okay, I'll do that for all the pieces, and this is the sleeve right now. So I'm going to be sewing the sleeve on that's using 1 inch seam allowance that I left. Okay, and this is what the sleeve looks like after sewing. Okay, so I am going to attach the flared part right now. Okay, so this is it. I've sewn the flared part already on the sides, and then what I'm going to do is to attach the Ankara part on the plain part. Okay, so it looks exactly like as what we have in the picture. So I'm going to turn it to the right side, and then attach the Ankara part on the plain part. The Ankara will be at the top, and the plain fabric will be at the bottom. Okay, just exactly what I'm saying. So I'll just pin that down, and then I'll be joining these to the sleeve. Okay, so just follow what I'm doing. This is exactly how I'm going to sew it. Now the part that has joining will be attached to the underarm of the sleeve where there is joining also, so it doesn't show at the front. So I'll just pin that point down, and then I'm going to sew all around for the two sleeves. Okay, and this is what the sleeve looks like right now. Can you see how beautiful it is? Okay, so I'm just going to further iron it to make it look flat and beautiful. Okay, so I just want to notch the middle part of the sleeve so that it will be easy to fix it to the armhole of the dress. This is the dress right now. I'm just going to match the underarm of the sleeve to the underarm at the armhole area, and then I'll sew it round. And this is what the dress is looking like at this point. I'm almost done. And then I've also fixed my zipper. As you can see, I fixed my zipper. So I'll just have to go and iron at this point so that everything lays flat. There is a side pocket on the original design, so that's what I'm trying to create right now. I have my fabric cut out. I have 8 inches by 11 inches. Okay, so I'm going to be fixing that to the side of my dress below the waistline, just below, like 1 inch or half-inch below the waistline. Okay, so just follow what I'm doing and you'll get it. It's very easy. Okay, so that's one. Right side facing each other. Okay, so the right side of the pocket on the right side of the fabric. So by the time I finish sewing, I'm going to lose the part that was already stitched initially. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to back stitch. That's coming from the seam, the initial seam that was on the dress. I'm going to back stitch this part, sew all the way to this other side, then I'll also back stitch, and that will be all for the pockets. And this is the final result of the dress, the A-line dress. I've been making the side pocket and flared sleeve, basic sleeve and flared sleeve. Thank you guys for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. And do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. Bye.